Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Dude. I have anxiety, right? I've had it my whole life. And when I was younger, you know, they would just try to drench me with medicine. I never did it. 10 years later, you know, I dealt with my own melodies and stuff. But now I'm starting to do my research and I'm in this industry. I'm like, what the fuck? How can I help? What can I do? What can I do? And I see that food is a huge solution to anxiety. Think about sugars, processed carbs, what it does to your, you know, spikes of energies and stuff like that. Like there's a science behind anxiety and nutrition. Why didn't they tell me that?
Why isn't it the first thing?
Why isn't that the first fucking thing that got brought up? For any type of those diseases, whether even depression, there's a huge correspondence between food and depression, anxiety, and your whole gut biome, and that whole process is massive. That's why you feel a certain way when you have a large pizza the next day, or you feel lighter and better, more energy when you eat certain foods. There's a scientific reason for that. Now, why, if this is a fact, isn't that brought up in the hospital space? It drives me nuts. It's fucking money. It drives me insane. And I had a friend of mine who you know, who I won't bring up his name, his mother passed of cancer 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago now. And at the time, and this is how this whole thing got brought up to me, he asked me, he said, hey man, the hospital is not giving my mother any guidance in nutrition, but she has cancer. And I'm reading that there's so much studies that are showing that her specific cancer can be helped in nutrition. Can you help me? First, I was like, yeah, of course, I'm giving her free meals forever. Like, let's see how we could help this thing. And then the second thought, I was pissed for him. I was like, why the fuck wouldn't they start to think or implement a nutrition counseling or something for her? If there's facts that show that and he was telling me after she passed, if I could get just 6 more months with her, that would have meant everything for me. If she was eating healthy and that proved to her that she can get an extra month, 2 month day, that would have meant everything for me. And the hospital did not give her that solution, did not give her that option. So now I'm on like a fucking vendetta. How can I disrupt this space? I mean, I'm going to need a lot of help, but food is a part of it. And if I have that ability, if I have that ammo, I have a good start. And I'm going to disrupt it somehow, shape, or way, or form. Within before I die, somehow I will do it. But it has to change. Hopefully that this can bring like some sort of awareness to it. And if you have any of those mental health issues or anything from even cancer, please do your research on nutrition to see how that specific disease can be helped by their nutrition.
Yeah. And, you know, it's hard for some people to hear that because
it's hard for me to even say it,
every person that's in this office, every person that's in this building, every person that you walk out on the street knows someone current or past that has passed away from cancers.
Yep.
And so it's really hard to think, and especially during that grind, especially during that entire time period where they're watching their friends disintegrate.
100%.
And to think that there was something that this hospital could have done or something that the education system that doctors go through to even in the simplest level understand that a cancer cell cannot proliferate without the presence of glucose.
100%.
That it's like, how is that not the first thing addressed? And a lot of people will avoid talking about it because it's uncomfortable until you think, like your friend said, even if there was just 6 months, not to say, hey, you start eating this stuff, it's going to cure all your cancers.
No,
that's not what's saying at all. But to understand and know that if certain measures were taken, you could have had that extended time. It's like, why wouldn't you look into it?
Or at least give the option for it, especially in depression, anxiety. Right now, it's I mean, again, I'm a huge anxiety person, and I am desperately trying to talk to other people with anxiety to try to help them because I've been completely immobile from it. So people like that, when I see it, it's like I'm desperately trying to tell them, like, dude, start journaling. Start journaling when you're eating. You'll start to see trends of what's going on in your body. Like, it's so important. Like, please listen to me. I know your therapist isn't telling you that, or I know your hospital isn't telling you that. I know they're just trying to put medication, which medication does help in certain scenarios. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but please look at this alternative. Like, nutrition is such a massive thing.
Well, hospital, like you said, doctors and hospitals, they're lifeguards.
They're not preventative.
They're not swim coaches.
No.
They're not going to teach you how to swim through the water. They're going to wait till you're in the water and you're drowning, and then they have these helping mechanisms.
They're not preventative, dude. I think there's 100 million people or 80 million people in this country that's pre-diabetic and not doing shit about it. Not doing a thing about it. They're just, okay, you're sick, this is what we're going to do now. But why isn't there anything that's in place? Okay, this is where you're at. Let's start preventing it so you don't get there or you don't get here.
the person that invented insulin, which was first initially invented from canines, from a dog. One of the things that he said in inventing it was, this is not the answer.
It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah, like this can be used for this, yes, but this, relying on this, is only going to make the issue worse and potentially a death sentence. To where the person who was like, hey, here, I have this thing that can be helpful, and then it's like, well, what can you do? We can get money. If someone starts to be glucose intolerant, well, why are you glucose intolerant? Well, there's so much insulin in your blood. Well, why is there so much insulin in your blood? Well, we're eating liquid, processed, and refined sugars that's absolutely spiking it with nothing to slow down that process, which leads to hyperinsulinemia, which in the deadly quartet will lead to hypertension, glucose intolerance, upper body obesity, hypertriglyceridemia, which is too much fats in your blood. It's like all of these things, like this information is here. Read an article by Dr. Barry Sears called The Deadly Quartet. In 1989, this was information that was available. And the fact that that's not the first thing that's looked at, it's not like, hey, let's change what you're eating, because then the hospitals and doctors don't make any money.
Oh, it's fucking bullshit, dude. There was a book that I read, How Not to Diet. Unbelievable. Dude, I swear to God, that book has like 8 years of education in it in one book. It was incredible. There's a stat in there that I think it said 90% of people who are diagnosed in the first 5 years of type 2 diabetes can be reverted, cured with nutrition. 90%, dude. But there was a timeline. Like they're diagnosed now. They have like I think it was 5 to 10 years to really start to go after to fix it with nutrition. That is a cure, my friend. That is a scientific cure.
When you eliminate the root cause of a disease, That is a cure by definition.
By definition. Now, why isn't that the number one? Why isn't there prescriptions of food? Why isn't a hospital coming to Nutre meal plans and saying, we need to prescribe Joe Schmo diabetic-friendly meals because he just got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Insurance is going to cover it, or this or that, or even not, whatever. There needs to be some sort of dialogue there between companies like us, whether it's us or not. Again, would I love to be the disruptor and be the guy? For sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm more aware of what guys like my dad go through. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather fix him than me be profitable. But in the same sense, do I want to be the disruptor in that? For sure. That needs to happen soon. It will, hopefully, sooner or later if money isn't involved. But, I mean, it has to happen, dude. That's a cure.